I would first of all wish to thank the National President of the AFPI, Colonel Mohan Kubendra, and Dr. Raman for inviting me to this conference. I would also like to thank all the members of the organizing committee of this conference and the faculty of AIIMS Rishikesh, the Department of Community and Family Medicine, for giving me this privilege to deliver the Dr. B.C. Rao oration. Dr. B.C. Rao is a doyen, a luminary in the field of family medicine and has been in the practice of family medicine for more than 5 decades. And thus it's an honor for me to deliver this oration. My talk today is on primary care and exigency in public health. This is the customary disclaimer. The references for my talk are as given on the screen. I shall be covering this oratory talk under the headings as shown on the screen. Coming first to the basics, let's get to the basics. What is primary health care? Now, the terminologies of primary health care and primary care are actually used many a time interchangeably, though actually they are a bit distinct from each other. Primary health care is a whole of society approach to health that aims to provide the highest possible level of health and well-being, focus on people's needs, and provide care as early as possible to the individual, address the broader determinants of health, and provide whole person care for health needs throughout the lifespan of the individual. Of the 8 elements of primary health care, you see, there are 5 which are related to the practice of medicine and 3 which are related to governance. So education, water and sanitation, and nutrition also play a very important role in the delivery of primary health care, where the rest of the 5, which is drug availability, treatment, prevention of disease, immunization, and maternal and child health are the clinical or medical elements of primary health care. Now coming to primary care. So there is a difference between primary care and primary health care. The first point of contact for individuals seeking health services is primary care, and the WHO has defined it as a model of care that supports first contact, accessible, continuous, comprehensive, and coordinated person-focused care. It thus aims to optimize population health and reduce disparities across population groups. A number of things which I'm going to say, I think would have been already told earlier, but I think it just emphasizes what I'm bringing out. So the 5 core components of primary care. The first component is first contact, accessibility. So therefore, primary care creates a strategic entry point for an individual into the healthcare system. It provides continuity of care. It helps in developing long-term personal relationships between the provider of primary care and the patient. It ensures comprehensive care, that is protective, promotive, preventive, rehabilitative, curative, and palliative services. It helps in coordination, one point brought out earlier. It helps in coordination across the various sectors of healthcare, various healthcare delivery sectors. It coordinates them and ensures that the care is people-centered and that people are given the education and support which they need to make their own decisions regarding healthcare. So the WHO has stated that approximately half the population currently lacks access to essential health care. Aging, the growth of the population, and the rising burden of non-communicable diseases is things which is actually going to transform primary care. Primary care can no longer remain narrow and only deal with treatment of some minor ailments. It has to look at all these which are now coming forth into society. Primary care has been shown to meet most of a person's health needs throughout their lives. So if you look at, I think, a very, very effective delivery of primary care, which was at the right care, right time, right place, was the battlefield resuscitation of Prince Lakshman by Lord Hanuman when he bought the Sanjeevani Booty. It would be interesting to all the Uttarakandis to know that the Sanjeevani Booty actually grew in the Dronagiri mountains of Uttarakhand. So he carried the entire Dronagiri range and brought it down to where the fighting was going on, and then in Sri Lanka. And I would also like to say that this is the first recorded instance of combat medical casualty care, because we in the army look at combat casualty care. So this was medical care, primary care provided right at the site, at the battleground. Now, what is the link between primary care and primary health care? Primary care is a key process in primary health care. I've already said that it involves all those services: protective, preventive, curative, rehabilitative. Whereas primary health care is a broader approach. Primary health care looks at both primary care and public health. So both primary care and public health are the core functions of primary health care. It also involves multi-sectoral policy and action across multiple stakeholders. Like I mentioned, nutrition, education, health, they play a very, very important part in ensuring health of a person. And it also, primary health care helps in empowering people and communities. Now let's come to public health, since my talk is on why is primary care an exigency in public health. Now the CDC has defined public health as a science of protecting and improving health of people and their communities. The WHO has defined it as all organized measures, public or private, to prevent disease, promote health, and prolong life among population as a whole. The three traditional P's of public health are prevention of disease, promotion of health, and promotion of wellness, thus increasing a healthy lifespan of an individual. The three new P's are prediction, the ability to use data and artificial intelligence and technology to predict when and how disease will occur. Precision. So we now have the concept of precision public health. We have already had the concept of precision medicine. Now we have precision public health, where we use highly accurate data to target interventions which are likely to be most effective, like was done during the COVID pandemic. And we have participation so as to ensure that the health outcomes with the community involvement are the best. So the relationship between public health and primary care, they both are cornerstones of sustainable health systems, and this needs to be reflected in the health policies and professional education systems of all nations who wish to achieve a health system that is effective, equitable, efficient, and affordable. So what is the key role which primary care plays in public health? It provides access to comprehensive healthcare services comprising the entire gamut as is shown on the screen. It helps in improvement of patient outcomes. It results in cost efficiency. I'll be in the subsequent slides, I shall be telling you how it brings down the cost, because basically it leads to reduced hospitalizations, it reduces visits to the emergency departments, and it reduces more expensive specialist consultations and investigations, and it results in continuity of care because there is a one-to-one provider-patient relationship which is established. This is not restricted, but the importance of primary care is not restricted to India alone. Globally and beyond geographies, it has been recognized. The World Health Organization lays emphasis on primary care as a crucial component and foundation for achieving universal health coverage, and it has recommended orienting health systems towards primary care. According to a 2021 report from the US National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, people in countries and health systems with high-quality primary care enjoy better health outcomes and more health equity. Investing in primary care reduces overall health costs. The Business Group on Health, again a US-based business group, has reported in 2021 that US adults who regularly see a primary care physician have 33% lower healthcare costs and 19% lower odds of dying prematurely than those who only see a specialist. The US could save $67 billion each year if everyone used a primary care provider as their first contact. Every dollar spent in primary care produces $13 in savings in downstream health cost. Imagine the huge impact on a country like ours, a low-income country, the huge economic impact of this. If you look at the healthcare pyramid, the healthcare delivery and support pyramid, the foundation of any healthcare delivery system is preventive and public health and primary care, whereas the upper parts of the pyramid are occupied by secondary and tertiary care. Unfortunately, this is the situation of the pyramid currently in our country. The center of gravity has been displaced. The entire pyramidal structure is unstable because preventive and public health and primary care have now forming the apex, actually, inverted apex of the pyramid. The government, by means of its various policies, some of which were brought out by General Kotwal, hopes to achieve uprighting of the pyramid and achieving stability in the healthcare delivery system from 2030 onwards. What has this led to? The inversion of the pyramidal model. It is very obvious that a specialist or a subspecialist will tend to concentrate on his or her field of specialization only, and as a result, a person is not seen as a comprehensive whole, but rather than as a disease entity. Consulting multiple specialists without a judicious integration of these is harmful for the health, and you don't have a single gatekeeper for health who can advise you on what is needed to coordinate all these different medicines and treatments which the person is taking. Training of a specialist and a subspecialist also takes much longer, and therefore this leads to scarcity of especially subspecialists with suboptimization of the healthcare resources. There may be a tendency for over-treatment and over-investigations, thus increasing the healthcare cost exponentially. And it also leads to health peronia amongst the individual, since they shuttle from one specialist or subspecialist to another. And this burdens the health system because a subspecialist or a specialist who's supposed to see only certain skill, he's skilled for certain high-quality interventions, is now forced or overburdened with a large number of patients, and therefore the quality of care is compromised. The overview of India's healthcare system, I will not go into it. It has already been covered in detail, but we know that both the public sector and private sector are actively involved. In fact, it is worthy to note that 70% of the healthcare delivery is actually by the private sector and only 30% by the public sector. India's expenditure as a percentage of the GDP is one of the lowest in the world. I think the only country we are probably above is Pakistan, and that is nothing to be very proud of, whereas the average expenditure as a percentage of GDP in the world on an average is around 10 to 11%. We are only spending 1.2 is a little low, that's an old report. It's around 1.9%. The US spends 26% of its GDP. The UK spends about 16% of its GDP on health. If you want to win Olympic medals, you want to make a name in science and technology, if you want to be a developed and leading nation, you need to invest in health. And that is the message which needs to go across to all policymakers at all levels. The challenges facing the primary care, infrastructure and resource constraints. The PHCs and CHCs especially are understaffed. There is absenteeism. There are doctors employed, there are healthcare professionals employed, but they are missing. They are under-equipped. Only 67% of the PHCs in the country currently have whatever critical equipment and drugs are required. So, of course, you can look at it as the glass being 2/3 full and 1/3 empty, but we need to make up that 1/3 very fast. There's a shortage of doctors. The WHO has recommended 1 doctor per 1,000 population. If you look at both allopathic and Ayush, we are pretty okay. We have 1 doctor per 834 people, whereas if you look at only allopathic doctors per 1,000, the rate is 0.7. That is 1 doctor for 1,200 population. Only 35% of the health facilities are available in rural health areas, whereas almost 65% of India resides in rural India. But there's only 35% of the healthcare facilities, and there's inadequate funding and lack of coherent policies to address the comprehensive health needs of the people. The initiatives, I think, have already been covered in great detail by General Kotwal. So these are actually huge initiatives which were rolled out in consonance with the National Health Policy of 2017. And the Ayushman Bharat, which is a flagship scheme, it is up to all of us to make sure that this flagship scheme of the Government of India is successful. And I will be just in the next slide, I will be just telling briefly about it. The infrastructure and accessibility, we have got around 25,000 PHCs in rural areas and 5,000 in urban, and 5,000 community health centers, 5,500 in rural areas and 500 in the urban areas. But however, there is a disparity in accessibility and availability of resources. Even though you have the number is more in rural areas, but accessibility and availability is poor as compared to urban areas. The positive thing, the NHM, the National Health Mission annual report said that over 300 million PHC visits are being made annually. So this is a good thing. Primary care is opening up. The National Health Mission, as I said, which was already covered also, but briefly it is focused on strengthening primary care, which is so important, and improving healthcare delivery through enhanced infrastructure, increased workforce development, and increased funding. And the Ayushman Bharat, through its health and wellness centers, which are now known as the Arogya Mandirs, and the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, I think this is the world's largest insurance policy, health insurance policy, where 5 lakhs rupees is given to around 55 crores poor people will benefit from this scheme, where 12 crore poor families are benefited, and the number is 55 crores. So it is already in the process of rolling out, but what is being seen that the southern states are using this facility much more than the northern. So I think we need to spread the message about this. And of course, the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, which is the backbone of the digital healthcare infrastructure, with the patient being the center and connected to every person in the digital health ecosystem. This is going to further propel us further on this path for achieving universal health coverage by 2030, or the Sustainable Development Goal 3 of the WHO. Just briefly, I would like to mention about a very interesting case study I came across, where how intersectoral coordination amongst the 3 levels of primary, secondary, and tertiary care totally transformed cardiology care in a small Eastern European nation with a population of just 28 lakhs. So what was the problem? It had the highest, this is a country called Lithuania in Eastern Europe. It had the highest rates of heart disease till about 30 years ago. There was overstaffing of specialist cardiology centers, understaffing of regional hospitals, and poor coordination between family doctors and the hospitals. Patients typically sought out specialists even for routine matters. I think that's very familiar to what's happening in India currently. Primary care providers were deprived of their traditional roles as first contact providers and treatment coordinators, and all the 3 levels of doctors worked in separate silos. So a small health team from the capital's university hospital and a few other medical establishments got together with the aim of transforming cardiology services, and the goal was to break down hospital-centric delivery of care and inequality of services between urban and rural areas. They boosted, by means of boosting role of primary care, emphasis on coordination of services, a strong referral system from the primary care, training especially at the primary and secondary care, and increasing patient education and awareness. This brought down the need for hospital and emergency OPD consultations, emergency admissions, and hospital admissions. And what was the result? It took 2 decades. It took time, but however, 2 decades is not very long. Over a period of 2 decades, the availability of providers for cardiology-related care at primary and secondary levels increased by 45%. Prevention and management of key risk factors like hypertension, diabetes, and dyslipidemia was stepped up, and the yearly mortality from heart attacks and strokes dropped significantly. So the key lessons is that if you coordinate care, integrate services, have people-centered method of delivering services, and address the needs of people rather than individual diseases, you can achieve an efficient and effective healthcare system. The successful models of India, the ASHA workers, e-Sanjeevani, have already been bought out. The two states we need to emulate are actually Kerala and Tamil Nadu, who by means of focusing on robust primary healthcare and comprehensive primary healthcare services have some of the best healthcare indicators in the entire country. And the lessons which have been learned are that we need to adopt technology and integrate community healthcare with primary healthcare services. The recommendations, I'll just be finishing in 2 minutes. The recommendations for improving primary care are strengthening infrastructure. We can't get away from technology. Technology is going to catapult us into the best health countries in the world. We need to enhance training and funding and provide financial and professional incentives for primary care professionals, especially those working in rural areas, and also have ethical public-private partnerships in the health sector and integrated healthcare services. The future is in technology, in rolling out significant government policies, and in formulation of long-term strategies for primary care expansion. To conclude, I would like to say that primary care plays a crucial role in improving public health outcomes, and policy changes and increased investments are needed to prioritize and strengthen primary care. A collective effort of all stakeholders is needed. So the last word I would like to say, this wisdom, I would like to quote from some shlokas from the Puranas, the Garuda Purana. This ancient concept of wellness and health for all was there with us thousands of years ago. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya. May all be happy, may all be free from disease and suffering. In fact, Sarve santu niramaya is the motto of the Indian Army Medical Corps also. And with that, I leave you to put together a coordinated effort to take our country to the next level as far as delivery of healthcare services goes. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, ma'am.